Hey there, this is going to be a little bit different video today. We're going to talk about an adventure I started running last night using the Dragonbane system. And we're running the adventure, I'm running the adventure Shadow over Gloomshire, which is it's based around a remote village, very creepy place. I had three of my regular group that are going to play in this. This is my Thursday night group. So we have my son Bryson and my friends Matt and Chris are the players in this group. We did a session 0 at the beginning of the camp the night where they built their characters, and we came up with Matt is playing a Wolfkin mage, and in Dragonbane there's different schools of magic in the core book. There's more coming with their latest Kickstarter, but and he picked animism, which is kind of a druid-like magic. So he picked a Wolfkin, which is, if you're not familiar with Dragonbane, they have some alternative kins, they're called. And one is a humanoid Wolfkin. And he is, his character is named Scarif, or his nickname is Stafflimper, because he's old. In Dragonbane, when you create a character, you can be young, an adult, or old. And they have different, those age brackets have different pluses and minuses to them. You know, you get more skills if you're older, and you get more attribute bonuses if you're younger. So he's old. Bryson is playing an elf demon hunter. So in the Shadows of Gloomshire, they've added two playable classes, and there's a demon hunter and a paladin. So he's playing an elf demon hunter named Tildren. And Chris is playing a dwarven paladin named Silverhammer. So we rolled up our characters, pretty random. Some of the other stuff that go with character generation, the guys use random rolls with equipment and weaknesses and stuff like that. One of the things we talked about, Dragonbane doesn't do it so much, but a lot of the Free League games that use the Mutiny Year Zero engine, they'll ask like questions of the characters, and it's in part of their generation. And this is a really good way to kind of like get the characters together and have a reason for it to come, and the group comes up with it instead of the game master just trying to figure it out on his own or come up with a way. It's kind of a group effort. So that's what we did. Some of the stuff they came up with was that Tildren and don't necessarily like each other, because is a little more religious and Tildren is not, but they both respect each other because their careers, their professions overlap. You know, one's a demon hunter, the other one's a paladin. So they work together and they have respect for each other. There's a little bit of I don't know if dislike is the right word, but they're not like great friends, but they're more like work associates, I guess, work mates. Scarif is older than both of them, or he's older in the bracket. So he has an abundance of skills. Like he has 12 trained skills. So the what they came up with is that their characters have often gone to him for like aid, you know, as far as like giving them information and stuff. So that's how they know him. Then we shifted into what does each of their characters hate. Scarif hates those that think themselves as very important. He doesn't like people like that. Tildren hates a vampire named Lucian. So that's pretty cool. I have no idea where this is going to go, if this game will go beyond this adventure. I kind of hope it does, because I'm a big fan of the Dragonbane system, but that's going to be up to the group and the players if they want to keep playing these characters, or maybe some different ones, whatever. But Lucian, so that's something that Bryson just made up, and you know, that's something I could use later on. Who knows? His was a much more personal thing. He just hates being wet or damp, which was amusing. And then they what is their dream? What is their big goal in life? And was defined. He has a memento. In Dragonbane, you have mementos, and those can be used for mechanical reasons and RP reasons. His momentum is he has an old map that was given to him by his father, and it's a treasure map, and he wants to find out where it goes to. He doesn't know. Tildren, he had a kind of a broad general thing. He just wants to rid the land of demons and filth. And Scarif dreams to become a legend and not forgotten as he gets older. He was kind of, the way Matt described him was, as wolf packs, real wolf pack, the wolves age out, they kind of get exiled a little bit from the pack. And that's what's happened to Scarif, and he doesn't want to just be forgotten. And with that done, that took about half the time we usually have. There's some general BS too that went along with it, but it was a fun process to do, to build the characters together. But then we began the session, and the session started with the adventure has some tables in it. Really well written adventure. You can get it on drive-through. It's really good. But it has like rumors and plot hooks. So the hook for them was Erd and Tildren had received a letter from this woman named Minerva, and asking them to come to this town, the village of Gloomshire, and help her save the village. So they recruited their friend Scarif to come with them, and they're on a coach ride to Gloomshire. And Gloomshire is, I think I said, about 4 or 5 hours by coach from the city they're from. They, in the coach, they basically describe they're in the forest, and their coach, the person driving the coach is this woman named Alina. She was rolled, in Gloomshire, there's like a random NPC generator, so I just rolled that on the fly. Woman named Alina, and her distinguishing feature is that she has like these old scratches on her face. She's driving the coach really hard because she keeps yelling at the horses that they need to get to Gloomshire before darkness, before nightfall, and they can't be out in the forest after dark. And they're going along at like maximum speed when suddenly there's they hit a bump in the road, and the coach actually catches a little bit of air. And I had everybody make dexterity checks, or agility, I should say. It's agility in Dragonbane. And everybody passed except Erd, so he bounced off the roof of the coach and hit the floor, but his armor prevented him from taking any damage. But when they land, the coach is a little bit out of control, and they've broken a wheel. So they stop, and Alina starts, frantically trying to get the wagon fixed. And meanwhile, Scarif and Tildren are keeping watch, and Erd's actually trying to help her a little bit get this done, and they're admonishing her that she needs to slow down and all this, but she's like, we need to get through this forest. We can't be out in the forest after dark. We have to get to Gloomshire. So while that's going on, Scarif and Tildren spot these skeletons, warriors coming out of the forest at them, and then there's 4 of them, and then this was kind of their introduction to combat with Dragonbane. And Dragonbane has some different style of combat than some other games. If you're used to like D&D or Cast Crusades or any of those other games, it works a little bit differently. In this battle, it kind of worked like D&D. The mechanics are different, but in Dragonbane, monsters, which skeletons technically don't qualify as monsters, but like if you're looking at the cover of these books here, like these dragons, if I was using those dragons against a party, I never have to roll to attack. Their attacks always hit, and the result, each of those monsters has a random chart, and it's usually, I think, like 6 different things they can do most of the time. That might be wrong, but it's a random number. You just roll it. Sometimes they get more than 1 attack per round. They can't do the same attack twice, but I never have to roll an attack. They always hit. There's things the players can do to mitigate that, but it's a really neat system. Skeletons fall under like kind of a regular category, so you run them like characters, so I have to roll to hit. And Dragonbane is a D20 system, but it's a roll under system, so you want to roll lower than your skill. So these 4 skeletons attack the group. Tildren ends up with 2 skeletons on him, and one of them attacks Alina, and the other one attacks I think it's Scarif. And Scarif is using his magic. He's using like a lightning spell, and Tildarin is using, I think, his knives. He has silver knives. So they attack, and they go back and forth. They start taking a little hits. Party. They have some heroic abilities which they can spend. You have a willpower score in Dragonbane, which allows you to activate your almost all of your heroic abilities. So Tildarin is able to avoid some damage because he keeps using his heroic ability, chewing up his willpower points, but not taking damage. And Dragonbane weapons and monsters do a lot of damage, so you're better off not getting hit than, depending on who you are. Like Erd, his equipment afforded him plate mail armor, which is the best armor in the game. And so how armor works in Dragonbane is it you have a score. Like he has a plate mail armor and a helmet, so he has I think he has like an armor rating of 7. So when he takes damage, he automatically subtracts 7 from it. That's almost most attacks. There are some attacks that don't care about armor, but most of them do. And obviously the skeletons swinging rusty short swords, they care about armor. So he's able to mitigate a lot of damage when he enters the fray. They're battling them. I kind of screwed this part up, but like I'll reveal it now to the players. I didn't reveal it to them at the game. Tildarin drops one of the skeletons, and it gets up and rises up again. It like reassembles, not nearly as well as it was before, but it gets back up. Above board, that shouldn't have happened because he was using a silvered weapon, so it should have just killed it. But that happened a few times. It happened to, I think, Erd when he eventually entered the fray to help out because Alina actually took some damage. She got stabbed. Scarif blasted his with lightning bolt a few times, and he came around to help out. So pretty good battle. It was a good introduction to, I think, some of Dragonbane combat. Like I said, they haven't fought like a true Dragonbane monster that I don't even have to roll the hit on. But that will happen before too long, I'm sure. So it was a good little combat to get the group, break them in, and they search the corpses, the remains of the skeletons after they dispatched them all, and Tildarin finds a treasure. So Dragonbane has treasure cards, and you can pull them out, or you can decide on it. I do it randomly, so he pulls out a random card, and he found a old worn and cracked leather belt pouch that had 20 silver pieces in it. So one of the things with Dragonbane is equipment and gear is it's rather expensive, and unlike a lot of fantasy games, like Cast Crusades does this, you're not typically finding like piles and piles of treasure. You can put that in there obviously as a game master, but it's not, doesn't seem like it's set up that way. I mean, I play in Dragonbane games and we do find loot, and some of it is way beyond what some of the cards read, which is fine, but it's kind of a neat system that way. So 20 silver pieces is a great find. Erd actually, he's like, well, I'm going to help Alina fix this wagon. First, Scarif tries to bandage her leg wound and rolled a demon. So that's a nat 20 in Dragonbane, which is bad. So he checks his healing on his character sheet, and as he got a demon, but then there's some consequence, and basically just ruled it. He didn't injure her any worse, but he didn't do her any favors and made her a little bit angry because he hurt her. But when they get back to fixing the wagon, Erd, the dwarf, he makes his like a crafting check, and is able to, and he succeeds, and he's able to affect the repair of the wagon, and they're back underway. They continue on. The party's still kind of urging Alina to take it easy on the speed, but she leads the coach on a pretty good pace. They reach the village of Gloomshire, which is this. It's a small village surrounded by a spruce log palisade, and when they get there, they get to the west gate, and one of the gate guards is yelling at this guy outside the gate, and they see that they're setting up, like, these people outside the gate are setting up like this little carnival, so with a few tents and stuff, and they're yelling at it, and the guard is yelling, you can't stay out there at night, you have to come in inside. Like, it's not safe. Alina yells at the other guard to let them in, which they recognize her because she's made trips to Gloomshire before, and he lets them in while the other guard continues to argue with the carnival people. They enter the village of Gloomshire. They find it a bit ramshackled and worn down. It's not a very prosperous village at all. And they come into the village square, and Alina's like, I'll take you guys to the Slippery Fox Inn. That's the best. That's really the only place to stay. So I'll take you there. And I can stable the horses and we can rest. So they're all for that. So they come into the village square. They see a couple distinctive buildings. They see the Slippery Fox Inn on the far side of the square, the village square. They see a chapel and like a larger townhouse building. And in the center of the square is a large well. And I described it as, if you've ever seen the movie Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman, when he arrives at the village, I don't remember the name of it, where he first meets Kate Beckinsale's character, and they get attacked by the 3 vampire wives. That big well in the middle, that's what I described it like. As they're, debarking from the coach, they hear this scream from one of the townspeople that's in the square, and they look, and this woman is pointing at the well, and this big, kind of like a cross between a giant bat and rat creature is climbing up out of this well, and it has this figure mounted on the back. And trailing up behind it, also crawling up, are several skeletons. And I used this miniature. We didn't really use the miniatures in terrain. I had it set up, but we didn't use it, which is fine. But I used this miniature as the creature that comes up out of the well with that guy on the back of it. And that's I don't know technically what that's called. It's a Games Workshop miniature. They're pretty cool, pretty creepy looking. But that climbs up out of the well. And that's where I ended the session. So Thursday night group, we play every Thursday, so I can do cliffhangers because it's a small group and they're really consistent about play. So we ended the session there. The play of the session. What we did then with Dragonbane is how you level up, for lack of better words, there's no levels in Dragonbane, it's a skill-based system, is you answer questions. In Free League's Year Zero games, all kind of do this. I'm not familiar with one that actually doesn't. You answer questions at the end of the session, and if you answer yes to these questions, you earn a point or a roll that you can make to bump one of your skills. So in Dragonbane, it's skill-based. When you make these rolls, you want to fail the roll. So you want to roll really high, and then if you fail, you actually bump your skill by 1 point. If you've earned a dragon, which is a 1 in D20, on a 1 on a D20 in Dragonbane is called a dragon, and a 20 is called a demon. Your skill sheet, I don't have a character sheet. Oh, I lie. I do have a character sheet. Handy. Let's see if I can do this. You have this character sheet, and next to it, this is my character from the current game I'm playing in, have these little diamonds next to them. And if you roll a 1 or a 20 in play on one of these skills, you just check that diamond box. And that gives you a free roll at the end of the session to try to bump that skill. And if you ever get a skill to 18, you earn another heroic ability, which is pretty cool. They're really handy. They up the power level of the players, which I've found. I played a lot of Dragonbane since last year, and been playing it monthly this year. Actually, before that, in a monthly campaign. So the heroic abilities are really cool because you can kind of shape your character a certain way. You could have 2 characters that have the same profession, but they could be very different in the heroic abilities they take. But you get a free roll. So I know Matt had rolled that demon on his medicine check, so he got a free roll. I think he did bump it too. Excuse me. And maybe, I don't know if Bryson or Chris got any on theirs, but that's how it works. Excuse me. So we did their upgrades, and then that was the end of our session. So we'll pick it up again next Thursday, and they'll have to see what's going on in the village of Gloomshire. But yeah, real fun session. I'm a huge fan of the Dragonbane system. It's probably, I mean, Castle Crusades is great. I've been running it for 3 years. I'm going to keep running it. But I played a lot of Dragonbane last year too, just as a player. I haven't run it too much. This is actually, I think, the 3rd session of Dragonbane I've ever run. Excuse me. But it's a really great system. The quality of it is awesome. Like these book covers are just, I love the art of Dragonbane. It's just phenomenal. Free League always does really well with all their artwork anyway, but like Dragonbane is one of my very, very favorite games. So I'm hoping it kind of takes off with the players so they'll want to play more of it. And so far, so good. So that's session 1 of our Dragonbane adventures, Shadow over Gloomshire. And catch you at the next one. Thanks for watching.